Hello and welcome to the Sports Show with Bob Spino, where midsummer has struck us, and now we have a trade deadline and an NBA draft completed. Bob, what's going on with sports?
Well, what's going on is I'm getting ticked off because the Yankees come up again. You know, here's a team a couple of weeks ago that was crying about we're gonna be sellers and this never happened to us, which it has, but and then all of a sudden, I kept saying it, they're going to pull something out. They started winning some games just before the deadline. And I'm like, no, they're going to be buyers. And sure as heck, what happens? They get Anthony Rizzo, who's a power hitter. And then they turn around and get Joey Gallo, who's a power hitter. One was for Cincinnati for years. Gallo's on Texas now. Now he's a Yankee. Rizzo was with the Cubs when they won it in 2016. You know what? It's all about hitting. It's all about the money. The Yankees have always done it. Take small ball and your Oakland A's philosophy and stuff them because it's ridiculous. They win. I text the Met guy on direct message on Twitter, and I said, first I told him to get Scherzer. They could have. The Mets could have. The Mets are this owner just like the last one. We're always close. What they get. They could have had Scherzer and Trey Turner because Washington wanted to dump them. And so, I told him to do that. He didn't listen. And then the second time, another direct messenger go, okay, since you didn't do that, get the power hitters. Get Baez, which they did, and get Chris Bryant, which they should have had in the beginning of the year. They almost traded for him. Once again, they were close, but they didn't do it. But we didn't get enough hitters. It's always about hitting. The Yankees got the hitting. Dodgers got the hitting. San Francisco got the hitting. The Mets got the shaft. They got Baez. They got one guy. That's not nearly enough. And by the way, we're falling apart. The Phillies are right on our tail. I'm going to trade this hat for a Philly hat if this keeps up. I'm going to start.
So, Bob. Say it ain't so.
Yeah, right. You know what's messed up? I'm so mad at the Mets. I'm so mad that I almost was rooting for the Marlins to beat them the last two nights. And they did beat them the last two nights. It's funny because I talked to my friend Reese, and I told him, he's a Marlins fan. He's like, oh, Bob, I'm sorry. Marlins couldn't beat the Yankees. I go, you couldn't score one run against the Yankees in 3 days, pretty much. I go, watch. We'll come there next because we were going there next into Florida to play them. And we'll lose. And you think we didn't? We already lost 2, and it's a 4-game series, so we can lose 2 more and get swept. Great. The Mets are a joke. They will not do what they need to do. And it's about hitting, Yankees. And Michael Kay can sit there and yell all he wants, the boy genius, Mr. Menza, about, if I call Hal Steinbrenner and tell him to throw money at the problem, then I'm undermining the fact that it was the core 4. You know what? The core 4 was the core 4. But they would never have won if they didn't get players every single year from around the deadline to help them finish the job and win. The core 4 would not have done it on their own. All Jeter aside, with all due respect, you need those extra players and you need home run hitters and you need to spend money. From Ruth on down, they did it. And those, I can't say it here, Yankees, let's just call them that. Those Yankees are going to do it again. They're right there. They're closing in on Tampa Bay, who cannot hit. And so what does Tampa do? They go to Boston this week and sweep them. They finally found somebody they could beat just to help the Yankees. And now Oakland's falling apart like they always do. I told you about them, how I think they're the Yankees West in disguise because they're always helping them out in some way, shape, or form. So they're going to make the playoffs, right? It's amazing to me. It's amazing.
So do you see the Mets making the playoffs?
On my video game, no. And in real life, no. I you know what? If they don't win the division, they're not. Because everybody else has got better records in the divisions. They have to win the division. They're not making a wild card. So I don't know. And then the geniuses on Twitter, they're like, oh, the Mets don't look the same. You know why? Because they're inconsistent. That's what happens when you're not that good. I kept saying the only reason we're first, everybody else thinks worse. It's exactly right. And now we're really starting to lose, and it's a problem. And remember what I told you, Raul, a couple of shows ago? I said, if any team in that division gets hot, because the Mets don't have a big lead. The Mets are going to blow it at the end. The Phillies are starting to win. Unreal. The Mets are unreal.
So this is quite the turn of events, Bob, because I distinctly remember you talking about how you thought this new Mets owner was going to do the right things needed.
Well, I know. I do believe
in shambles, and now the script is flipped, and now here we are. The Yankees are making a move, and the Mets are
never
floundering.
doubted the Yankees won't do it, Rob. I believed in this guy because he came in and told me so. He told me, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then I even gave him a break when, he didn't get the players before the season started. It's his first year. Because Steinbrenner didn't do much the first year with the game. Steinbrenner came on, George came on the first year and said, I'm going to be a hands-off guy. Yeah, that didn't work, did it? That lasted about 3 days.
Yeah.
But you know what? I believed in him, and I gave him a chance. I even said before the deadline, I want to see him do something this time, or I'm going to start having issues. And sure as heck, he did get one guy, but not nearly enough. Cole Hamels just signed with the Dodgers today. He did. The ex-Philly won the World Series. So what are the Mets doing? I mean, the Mets are so bad that, their number one pitcher that they drafted this year, he was in the top, 10? Or he was pick 11, something like that. They didn't sign him, Rob. They found out he's got a bad arm, and now they don't want to sign him. They didn't sign him. They lost him. Unreal. And they're like, we're focusing on pitching. No, you're focusing on sucking and losing. That's what you're focused on. They drive me crazy. I still, in the back of my mind, believe this guy will change or will do things that Wilpon didn't, but he hasn't shown it yet. I still will give him benefit of the doubt. With the Mets, I give you benefit of the doubt. If you don't come through after a little while, you're out because I know what you are. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long.
So it sounds like the honeymoon period is waning
yes, like the moon that's ready to set.
Yeah, it's dwindling.
Holy go, yeah. But but they are what I don't expect anything else from. And then to make matters worse, at the same time, I get the devastating news that Russell Westbrook jumps ship and goes to play with LeBron. Stop telling me you're so great, LeBron. You stack teams. And then you win. And not all the time you don't win. There are years when you don't. You still have 6 losses in the finals. That's pretty pathetic, to be honest with you, for someone who's so great. But, you're stacking it again, and you didn't stop there. You got your buddy Melo, right? You must be
going for the one ring. Love it.
One ring. Mm-hmm.
He's got to have it.
Right. So is Westbrook, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And then they signed Dwight Howard. Right?
Wait, they got Dwight Howard back.
Yeah, they got Dwight Howard back. I guess he was running out of men's phone numbers to get, so he needed some more in LA.
I mean, he was a big loss for them. They needed that backup center.
I know.
Good move to get him
they
back.
Got rid of too many backups this past year. That's why.
No, it was a good move getting him back.
And Davis got hurt. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got 4 other players as well. They got Trevor Ariza back, who's a winner. That guy's a winner. He went to UCLA. He's a winner.
So they're once again the odds-on favorite next year.
Well, but you know what? The Nets didn't take it laying down because they just got Patty Mills, who was a big part of San Antonio winning. When
he's playing in the Olympics right now, right? Or unless they lost.
They did
Australia.
Lose.
Did Australia lose?
I think they lost.
I think you're right, Bob. I think they did lose
my
in
friend
the
texted me
knockout
last
round.
night that they lost. I think they did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had Patty Mills and what is his name? Bella Vadova. It's hard to pronounce. I know they had at least 2 NBA guys.
Right. Well, they have Kevin too. I mean,
no, it says we're playing. It says the final 4 is France and Slovenia and the United States and Australia. So U.S. will be playing Patty Mills tonight. Okay, early a.m.
Then I don't know why my friends text me that they lost. Maybe because they lost the other games, he thought they were out. But he did text me.
They probably dropped. I think they lost a round robin game to Germany, and that was a blemish. But it wasn't enough to keep them out of the knockout round.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. But you know what? So the Nets aren't taking it laying down. It's going to be the Nets are obviously going to them and the Lakers are the favorites. They're on a collision course unless something goes terribly wrong. But LeBron's making sure that this time he knew that the year before when they had that good bench with Rondo and Dwight, that's why they won. And then last year they got rid of them. So, and I said that was the reason they didn't win. But he was smart. He's smart enough to know who's good enough to help him win. He got them all back there. But the Nets are playing hard too. They're playing hardball. So, I mean, they got a bunch of free agents in the Nets, but I would try to sign Dinwiddie back. If you can get him cheap, again, I'd take him back because he's good. But that's the Bucks aren't going to repeat. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to repeat. They barely did it this year. If it wasn't for a big foot that Durant had, they wouldn't have done it. I just don't. I don't see that happening, and I don't see nobody stopping the Lakers, not Phoenix or not Utah either, because they don't have the big man. I mean, Ayton's a good player, but he's young. He's not good enough for Anthony Davis. And Gobert is too much of a defensive center. He can't play offense. And he's not good enough to beat the Lakers. So they ain't winning either, They'll be good. They'll have a nice record, but they won't win. But yeah, just when that happened, so the Yankees hit me and then the Lakers hit me. And then Boston, I just read the other day, Boston just lost their best player to the Knicks. That made me happy. Not. And
Boston just lost Tatum to the Knicks?
No, I'm sorry. Their other player that they got, he's their second back. I forgot about Tatum. Fournier, that's it.
He's a shooter. Yeah, he's playing in the semifinal of the Olympics with France.
He just signed a 4-year deal with the Knicks, actually. And the Celtics are like, we're waiting for 2022, which means that this year they could care less and we're not going to win. But yeah, forgive me, Tatum is the best player by far. He's way better than Brown, way better. And I've known that from the start. I knew that when he was at Duke, how good he was. I wanted him, actually. Danny Ainge didn't know. He wanted that guy from Kansas. Jackson? Thank God Jackson didn't want us. He did us a favor. I'm a Celtic fan if anybody doesn't know. But he did us a favor.
Now Ainge is gone, though. Who's in place now?
Well, Brad Stevens took over. Brad's he took over for Ainge. He's the GM. So he's running everything. I hope he's smarter than Danny, because Danny was not smart. It really is the truth. We'll see how it goes. That hit and then the Yankees, that's like a double whammy because I hate the Lakers and the Yankees. I mean, and I'm worried about both of them now, So, my brother's, he likes to get under my skin. So he's like, go Yankees, go. So I'll just text him back, go Dodgers. Because I know that bothers him when I say it, And they have a good chance to win it, Rob. Dodgers do because they got the players, They just need to stop taking pitchers out and keep the pitcher. Last night they kept in Bueller though he had 113 pitches before they took him out. And that's
how'd that work out for them?
It was 1-0. Both pitchers were on their game and both pitchers pitched over 100 pitches. And eventually what happened was the Dodgers just couldn't get a run. And they ended up losing 3-0 because their relief pitcher in the ninth didn't give up a 2-run homer. So they lost 3-0. But Houston's good. I mean, Houston's no slouch, They've been playing really well lately, too. So anybody but the Yanks, I don't care who it is. I don't care. I just don't want them to win. I just don't. But they're good. But I'll tell you what, if they didn't make this, even my friend John, he if they didn't make this move, and he never admits anything bad about the Yanks, they would not have done it. Even he said it. They would not have made the playoffs. But now they're gonna. I think now they're gonna. It would take a lot for them not to. But
any other highlights from the trade deadline that you noticed?
Yeah, Schwarzer from Washington went to Boston. That was a great move. He was one of their power hitters with the Cubs when they won it too. Boston had a good hitting team, although they haven't been playing well since the All-Star game, or since the deadline. But they will. They can hit, and he's a power hitter. He's a really good player, and that was a great move. The White Sox got the closer from the Cubs, Craig Kemble, and I never pronounce his name right, but he's a superstar. He was with the Braves for years. He's having a great year. That'll help the White Sox a lot. But it still comes down to that. It still comes down to the White Sox, Red Sox. Now you got to think about the Yankees a little, the Dodgers. It's one of the, and San Francisco been playing out of their mind. I don't want to forget them. But it's one of those teams that are going to win. The Padres aren't going to win. They did pretty much nothing. And their problem is they can beat the good teams, but they can't beat the bad ones. When they play the bad ones, they lose. They lose too much to the bad ones. And that'll sink your boat, you know. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll go far. But we'll see.
What do you think, Rob? How about the NBA draft? Did anything wow you about the NBA draft? Because I wasn't. I went down the list and I don't see anyone that's going to leave a major mark.
You're a pretty big college guy. So what do you think about Cunningham?
Yeah, I was just going to ask you the same thing. I think he'll be a top third in the league type guy. He'll be one of the top. He'll be one of the best players in the top third of the league. But I don't think he'll be at the top of the top third.
Yeah, he'll be okay. I don't think he'll be great. I think that the kid from Cleveland's going to be good.
I agree, but the Mobleys look like NBA guys. So
Marcus Johnson told me that when he was still.
This guy's a solid 7-footer, right?
Yeah, he is. And Marcus told me when he was a senior in high school, he's ready for the NBA. Then he's a real player.
I expect him to be good. I think he'll have a good career if he stays healthy. That's always the caveat.
Mm-hmm. Of course. I'll tell you who I do like, and I was hoping the Celtics would get him, but they traded their pick for the kid that played at UCLA, Moses Brown. I wanted Luke Garza, and Detroit Pistons got him. They had a pretty good draft because they got a guard. And
he went down. He wasn't picked for a while.
Right, he wasn't.
I was surprised.
Right, he was actually projected late second round. And I was hoping he would be late second round, so Boston would have a chance to get him. They didn't. Detroit picked him first. I think he's going to be a great player. I really do.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good. I think, he's almost 7 feet. He's right there.
Right. Outside of that, though, Rob, you're right. There's a lot of players that are guards or forwards that are going to be good, but not great. You know, they're drafting people out of the G League, which is a mind blower. You know, the G League is just an extension of college. That's all it is. And they're getting paid, which they like.
Yeah, I have no issue with the G League. I'd rather have the players go, if they don't want to go to college, just go to the G League and see if they can get drafted. I'd rather have the G League siphon off the one and dones and have players stay. I like to watch players at a team for a little while.
Well, the G League was just getting big, but now that the college kids are going to get paid, it may hurt it a little bit because now the kids will stay. They're getting paid, and then they'll just go pro.
Do we have any news on any? We got the preseason coming up, right? The NFL.
Yeah, we do. Tomorrow night, Pittsburgh plays Dallas, I believe, in the Hall of Fame game. It'll be, the starters will play a very short time, maybe a quarter, if that. I want to see Harris, though. He was the best pick. I think he was the steal of the draft. He was the steal of the draft on offense, and the Cleveland linebacker, I think, was from Notre Dame, was the steal on defense. They're both good, and I really like to see them play. I was hoping the Bills would get Harris, but Pittsburgh snatched him away first. And do I think they're going to make them tougher? Yeah, but I do think Cleveland's going to give them all they can handle. I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to win a division. As long as Ben's there, though, they're always going to be good and a threat. But I think Cleveland, watch out for Cleveland. I really believe that the Baker boy, Baker Mayfield, has to play a little more consistent. But if he does, they're going to be really hard to beat. They're going to win the division. The Chiefs are still the best team, though, in the AFC. I think that they'll probably go back to the Super Bowl as long as they stay healthy. I don't see them being stopped. And in the West, I don't know. The Rams are definitely a big favorite, but they lost their running back for the year already. That's going to hurt them. And they have a new quarterback. You don't know how it's going to be. So that just helps Brady. And, the little girl in Green Bay decided to stay with the Packers, Aaron, the dress boy Rodgers. He's a girl, so I call him wear a dress. But, Green Bay never wanted to lose him. He wanted to leave. And then all of a sudden he gets an extension. he's he's an interesting character. Let's put it that way. And but you know what the best part is? They're not going to win because they ain't good enough. They don't have a good enough defense. They'll win the division probably because of him, and they'll get a lot of calls, which the rest love him. They give him a lot of calls, especially on pass interference calls. He just throws the ball deep at the end of games when they're losing, and the ref throws the flag. Next thing you know, they're on the 5-yard line. They're scoring the next play, or two. That's what they do. He's a good player, but I have issues with him. For as good as they've been and he's only won one time, and that was because the year that they won, the rest of the team was great, not just him. But there were years when he's choked out big time, at home no less. 1 year against the Giants, he did it. Did it last year against Tampa Bay, although Brady can make anybody choke out. Yeah, they'll be right there, and then they'll play Tampa or something, and then Tampa will beat them again. And as long as they stay healthy, I can't see anybody stopping them from going back. The only difference this time is they got to go 3,000 miles for the Super Bowl. They don't play a home game like they did. That means a lot. Playing home. I always said I wanted the Bills to play a lot in the 90s at home. They should have done it then. The Super Bowl. Giants wouldn't have beat them if they played in Buffalo. I can tell you that right. Maybe even Washington or Dallas wouldn't either. At least one of the times with Dallas, they wouldn't. All Troy Aikman aside, and I know he's great. I see Brady and I see Mahomes probably rematching if all stays the same and they all stay healthy. They're still the two best teams in football. I think Baltimore's going to take a little bit of a hit. I don't believe in their quarterback. I don't believe in any running quarterback. You want to run, stand behind the quarterback and be a running back. You ain't good enough. Not in the pros, you ain't. I don't care what you did in college. But that's, I see the Chiefs probably going back. And Cleveland's going to be a stickler. They're going to give Kansas City all they can handle. They did the first time. They actually hurt Mahomes in that game. Those are the two teams that are going to be really, really. And I don't want to forget about Buffalo. But I think it's interesting. They did not sign Allen yet to an extension. To me, that kind of shows me that maybe they're not 100% sold on it, because by now they would have locked him up. Although Buffalo is a bit cheap with their money. But still, by now they would have locked him up, I would have thought. So that makes me wonder. And I still have issues with Allen. I still think he makes too many mistakes. I still think he overthrows too many wide receivers. He definitely fumbles way too much. And he's not what Pat Mahomes is. As long as Mahomes is there, he's never going to get by him. I just don't see it, And they don't have a running back. Well, they have decent running backs, but not a great one. They don't. They need one. But that's what I see Cleveland really moving up this year. And, of course, Kansas City's Kansas City.
So you don't really see a changing of the guard yet. Kansas City's reign supreme.
Well, just the fact that Kansas City's good as a changing of the guard, because for years they weren't.
Yeah, that's true.
And Buffalo really wasn't.
Buffalo had a 17-year playoff drought.
That's right. And, Allen's the best quarterback we've had since Kelly. Because, all those other guys were kind of not very good.
So, Bob, we got a new guest likely lined up in the next day or two, maybe early next week. Who do you think's coming on?
Well, we got Wayne Embry, who played behind Bill Russell with the old Celtics. And he's been a GM. He was GM with my brother in Milwaukee. My brother calls him the best GM he ever had. He built them. He brought Alcindor there and Bob Danrich, who we had on, and all those stars that won it, 50 years ago. And then he went to Toronto and built the Kawhi team that won it. And he's still the GM with the Toronto Raptors. So he's definitely coming on. We also have Armando. Armando is the personal medical trainer for Jimmy Butler. And I talked to Armando yesterday. He's going to talk to Jimmy. We're going to try to get him on the show. He's going to talk to him on Friday, actually, he told me. So we got those guests are coming. We still got a lot more coming. We definitely are going to get Pacquiao. And if Pete Sampras is pretty busy right now, but he's going to come on. So we got a lot of good guests coming.
You heard it, folks. Guests are coming, so please like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word. Post the links. You know the drill, folks. We appreciate it and look forward to seeing you again soon. Here, signing off with the Sports Show with Bob Spino. This is Rob. Take care, folks.